return for Tommy's attentions.
I like it ever so much, and I'll give you this
Begin by
one.
simply
And they can
listening,
live
slow
together
down,
if
see
they don't
just how
fight.
peaceful today can
Those
be.
white
You
mice
call
are
me
raw.
Sebastian
Friends gave them
Small,
to us.
Sebastian Saint
The rabbits are
Small,
Ned,
Small,
and
if
the
you're killing
bandhans
Small.
outside are
You
Stuffy.
can always call me
That
Ben.
box thing is Demi's turtle tank, only he hasn't begun to get them yet. Last year he had 62, whackers some of them. He stamped one of them with his name and the year and let it go, and he says maybe he will find it ever so long after and know it. He read about a turtle being found that had a mark on it that showed it must be hundreds of years old. Demi's such a funny chap.
What is in this box?
Asked Nat, stopping before a large, deep one, half full of earth.
That's Jack Ford's worm shop. He digs heaps of them and keeps them here, and when we want any to go fishing with, we buy some of him. It saves lots of trouble, only he charged too much for them. Why, last time we traded I had to pay 2 cents a dozen, and then got little ones. Jack's mean sometimes, and I told him I'd dig for myself if he didn't lower his prices. Now, I own 2 hens, those gray ones with top knots. First-rate ones they are too, and I sell Mrs. Bear the eggs. But I never ask her more than 25 cents a dozen. Never. I'd be ashamed to do it.
Cried Tommy, with a glance of scorn at the worm shop.
Who owns the dogs?
Asked Nat, much interested in these commercial transactions, and feeling that T. Bangs was a man whom it would be a privilege and a pleasure to patronize.
The big dog is Emil's. His name is Christopher Columbus. Mrs. Bear named him because she likes to say Christopher Columbus, and no one minds it if she means the dog.
Answered Tommy, in the tone of a showman displaying his menagerie.
The white pup is Rob's, and the yellow one is Teddy's. A man was going to drown them in our pond, and Pa Bear wouldn't let him. They do well enough for the little chaps. I don't think much of them myself. Their names are Castor and Pollux.
I'd like Toby the donkey best if I could have anything. It's so nice to ride, and he's so little and good.
Said Nat, remembering the weary tramps he had taken on his own tired feet.
Mr. Lorry sent him out to Mrs. Bear so she shouldn't carry Teddy on her back when we go to walk. We're all fond of Toby, and he's a first-rate donkey. Those pigeons belong to the whole lot of us. We each have our pet one, and give shares in all the little ones as they come along. Squabs are great fun. There ain't any now, but you can go up and take a look at the old fellows while I see if Cockletop and Granny have laid any eggs.
Nat climbed up a ladder, put his head through a trap door, and took a long look
There
at
you
the
go.
pretty
You got
doves
this.
billing and cooing in their spacious
Keep
loft.
moving.
Some on their nests, some bustling in and out, and some sitting at their doors, while many went flying from the sunny housetop to the straw-strewn farmyard, where 6 sleek cows were placidly ruminating.
Everybody has got something but me. I wish I had a dove, or a hen, or even a turtle, all my own.
Thought Nat, feeling very poor as he saw the interesting treasures of the other boys.
How'd you get these things?
He asked when he joined Tommy in the barn.
We find them or buy them, or folks give them to us. My father sends me mine, but as soon as I get egg money enough, I'm going to buy a pair of ducks. There's a nice little pond for 'em behind the barn, and people pay well for duck eggs, and the little duckies are pretty, and it's fun to see 'em swim.
Said Tommy with the air of a millionaire. Nat sighed, for he had neither father nor money, nothing in the wide world but an old empty pocketbook and the skill that lay in his 10 fingertips. Tommy seemed to understand the question and the sigh which followed his answer, for after a moment of deep thought, he suddenly broke out,
Look here, I'll tell you what I'll do. If you'll hunt eggs for me, I hate it. I'll give you 1 egg out of every dozen. You keep account, and when you've had 12, Mother Bear will give you 25 cents for 'em, and you can buy what you like. Don't you see?
I'll do it. What a kind fellow you are, Tommy.
cried Nat, quite dazzled by this brilliant offer.
Pooh, that is not anything. You begin now and rummage the barn, and I'll wait here for you. Granny is cackling, so you're sure to find one somewhere.
And Tommy threw himself down on the hay with a luxurious sense of having made a good bargain and done a friendly thing. Nat joyfully began his search and went rustling from loft to loft till he found 2 fine eggs, one hidden under a beam and the other in an old peck measure which Mrs. Cockletop had appropriated.
You may have one, and I'll have the other. That will just make up my last dozen, and tomorrow we'll start fresh. Here, you
I'll
chalk
start
the
fresh.
up to your mind, and then we'll be all straight.
Said Tommy, showing a row of mysterious figures on the side of an old winnowing machine. With a delightful sense of importance, the proud possessor of one egg opened his account with his friend, who laughingly wrote above the figures these imposing words, T. Bangs and Co. Poor Nat found them so fascinating that he was with difficulty persuaded to go and deposit his first piece of portable property in Asia's storeroom. Then they went on again, and having made the acquaintance of the 2 horses, 6 cows, 3 pigs, and 1 Alderney Bossy, as calves are called in New England, Tommy took Nat to a certain old willow tree that overhung a noisy little brook. From the fence, it was an easy scramble into a wide niche between the 3 big branches, which had been cut off to send out from year to year a crowd of slender twigs till a green canopy rustled overhead. Here little seats had been fixed, and a hollow place, a closet made big enough to hold a book or 2, a dismantled boat, and several half-finished whistles.
This is Demi's and my private place. We made it, and nobody can come up unless we let him, except Davy. We don't mind her.
Said Tommy, as Nat looked with delight from the babbling brown water below to the green arch above, where bees were making a musical murmur as they feasted on the long yellow blossoms that filled the air with sweetness.
Oh, it's just beautiful.
Cried Nat.
I do hope you'll let me up sometimes. I never saw such a nice place in all my life. I'd like to be a bird and live here always.
It is pretty nice. You can come if Demi don't mind. And I guess he won't, because he said last night that he liked you.
Did he?
And Nat smiled with pleasure, for Demi's regard seemed to be valued by all the boys, partly because he was Father Bear's nephew, and partly because he was such a sober, conscientious little fellow.
Yeah, Demi likes quiet chaps, and I guess he and you will get on if you care about reading as he does.
Poor Nat's blush of pleasure deepened to a painful scarlet at those last words, and he stammered out,
I can't read very well. I never had any time. I was always fiddling around, you know.
I don't love it myself, but I can do it well enough when I want to.
Said Tommy, after a surprised look, which said as plainly as words,
A boy 12 years old and can't read?
I can read music anyway.
added Nat, rather ruffled at having to confess his ignorance.
I can't.
And Tommy spoke in a respectful tone, which emboldened Nat to say firmly,
I need to study real hard and learn everything I can, for I never had a chance before. Does Mr. Bear give hard lessons?
No, he isn't a bit cross. He sort of explains and gives you a boost over the hard places. Some folks don't. My other master didn't. You see, Mr. Word, didn't we get raps on the head?
and Tommy rubbed his own pate as if it tingled yet with the liberal supply of raps, the memory of which was the only thing he brought away after a year with his other master.
I think I could read this,
said Nat, who had been examining the books.
Read a bit then. I'll help you.
Resumed Tommy with a patronizing air. So Nat did his best and floundered through a page with many friendly boosts from Tommy, who told him he would soon go it as well as anybody. Then they sat and talked boy fashion about all sorts of things, among others gardening. For Nat, looking down from his perch, asked what was planted in the many little patches lying below them on the other side of the brook.
These are our farms,
said Tommy.
We each have our own patch, and we raise what we like in it. Only have to choose a different thing. You can't change till the crop is in, and we must keep it in order all summer.
What are you going to raise this year?
Well, I calculated have been, as they're about the easiest crop a going.
Nat could not help laughing, for Tommy had pushed back his hat, put his hands in his pockets, and drawled out his words in unconscious imitation of Silas, the man who managed the place for Mr. Bear.
Huh, you needn't laugh.
Peony
These
Fair,
are ever so
you are
much
dizzy
easier.
from changing
I
directions
tried
so
melon
many
last year,
times.
but
Do not look back with regret,
the old things
but look
wouldn't
forward
get
with
right towards the
anticipation
top, so I
and
didn't
joy.
have but one good water and 2 little mushrooms.
Peony Fair.
Said Tommy, relapsing into a Silasism with the last word.
Corn looks pretty growing.
Said Nat, politely, to atone for his laugh.
Yes, but you have to hoe it over and over again. Now 6 weeks beans only have to be done once or so, and they get right thick. I'm going to try 'em, for I spoke first. Duffy wanted 'em, but he's got to take a piece. They only have to be picked, and he ought to do it. He's such a lot.
I wonder if I shall have a garden.
Said Nat, thinking that even corn hoeing must be pleasant work.
Of course you will.
Said a voice from below, and there was Mr. Bear returned from his walk and come to find them, for he managed to have a little talk with every one of the lads sometime during the day, and found that these chats gave them a good start for the coming week. Sympathy is a sweet thing, and it worked wonders here, for each boy knew that Father Bear was interested in him, and some were readier to open their hearts to him than to a woman, especially the older ones, who liked to talk over their hopes and plans, man to man. When sick or in trouble, they instinctively turned to Mrs. Joe, while the little ones made her their mother confessor on all occasions. In descending from their nest, Tommy fell into the brook. Being used to it, he calmly picked himself out and retired to the house to be dried. This left Nat to Mr. Bear, which was just what he wished, and, during the stroll they took among the garden plots, he won the lad's heart by giving him a little farm and discussing crops with him as gravely as if the food for the family depended on the harvest. From this pleasant topic they went to others, and Nat had many new and helpful thoughts put into a mind that received them as gratefully as the thirsty earth had received the warm spring rain. All supper time he brooded over them, often fixing his eyes on Mr. Bear with an inquiring look that seemed to say,
I'd like that. Do it again, sir.
I don't know whether the man understood the child's mute language or not, but when the boys were all gathered together in Mrs. Bear's parlor for the Sunday evening talk, he chose a subject which might have been suggested by the walk in the garden. As he looked about him, Nat thought it seemed more like a great family than a school, for the lads were sitting in a wide half-circle round the fire, some on chairs, some on the rug, Daisy and Denny on the knees of Uncle Fritz, and Rob snugly stowed away in the back of his mother's easy chair, where he could nod unseen if the talk got beyond his depth. Everyone looked quite comfortable and listened attentively, for the long walk made rest agreeable, and as every boy there knew that he would be called upon for his views, he kept his wits awake to be ready with an answer.
Once upon a time,
Began Mr. Bear, in the dear old-fashioned way.
there was a great and wise gardener who had the largest garden ever seen. A wonderful and lovely place it was, and he watched over it with the greatest skill and care, and raised all manner of excellent and useful things. But weeds would grow even in this fine garden. Often the ground was bad, and the good seeds sown in it would not spring up. He had many under-gardeners to help him. Some did their duty and earned the rich wages he gave them, but others neglected their parts and let them run to waste, which displeased him very much. But he was very patient, and for thousands and thousands of years he worked and waited for his great harvest.
He must have been pretty old.
Said Demi, who was looking straight into Uncle Fritz's face, as if to catch every word.
Hush, Demi, it's a fairy story.
Whispered Daisy.
No, I think it's an allegory.
said Demi.
What is an allegory?
Called out Tommy, who was of an inquiring turn.
Tell him, Demi, if you can. And don't use words unless you are quite sure you know what they mean.
Said Mr. Bear.
I do know. Grandpa told me. A fable is an allegory. It's a story that means something. My story without an end is one because a child in it means a soul. Don't it, Auntie?
Cried Demi, eager to prove himself right.
That's it, dear. An uncle's story is an allegory, I am quite sure. So listen and see what it means.
Returned Mrs. Joe, who always took part in whatever was going on and enjoyed it as much as any boy among them. Demi composed himself, and Mr. Bear went on in his best English, for he had improved much in the last 5 years, and said the boys did it.
This great gardener gave a dozen or so of little pots to one of his servants and told him to do his best and see what he could raise. Now, this servant was not rich, nor wise, nor very good, but he wanted to help because the gardener had been very kind to him in many ways. So he gladly took the little pots and fell to work. They were all sorts of shapes and sizes, and some were very good soil, some rather stony, and all of them needed much care, for in the rich soil the weeds grew fast, and in the poor soil there were many stones.
What was growing in them besides the weeds and stones?
Asked Nat, so interested he forgot his shyness and spoke before them all.
Flowers.
Said Mr. Bear with a kind look.
Even the roughest, most neglected little bed had a bit of heart's ease or a sprig of mignonette. One had roses, sweet peas, and daisies in it.
Here he pinched the plump cheek of the little girl leaning on his arm.
Another had all sorts of curious plants in it. Bright pebbles, vine that went climbing up like Jack's beanstalk, and many good seeds just beginning to sprout. For you see, this bed had been taken fine care of by a wise old man who had worked in gardens of this sort all his life.
At this part of the airy-gory, Demi put his head on one side like an inquisitive bird and fixed his right eye on his uncle's face as if he suspected something and was on the watch. But Mr. Bear looked perfectly innocent and went on glancing from one young face to another with a grave, wistful look that said much to his wife, who knew how earnestly he desired to do his duty in these little garden plots.
As I tell you, some of these beds were easy to cultivate. That means to take care of, Daisy. And others were very hard. There was one particularly sunshiny little bed that might have been full of fruits and vegetables as well as flowers, only it wouldn't take any pains. And when the man sowed, well, we'll say melons in this bed, they came to nothing because the little bed neglected them. The man was sorry and kept on trying, though every time the crop failed, all the bed said was, "I forgot."
Here a general laugh broke out, and everyone looked at Tommy, who had pricked up his ears at the word melons and hung down his head at the sound of his favorite excuse.
I knew you meant us.
Cried Demi, clapping his hands.
You are the man, and we are the little gardeners, aren't we?
You have guessed it. Now, each of you tell me what crop I shall try to sow in you this spring, so that next autumn I may get a good harvest out of my 13 plots.
Said Mr. Bear, nodding at Nat as he corrected himself.
You can't sow corn and beans and peas in us, unless you mean we are to eat a great many and get fat.
Said Stuffy, with a sudden brightening of his round, dull face as the pleasing idea occurred to him.
He don't mean that kind of seeds. He means things to make us good, and the weeds are false.
Cried Demi, who usually took the lead in these talks because he was used to this sort of thing and liked it very much.
Yes, each of you think what you need most, and tell me, and I will help you to grow it. Only you must do your best, or you will turn out like Tommy's melons, all leaves and no fruit. I will begin with the oldest and ask the mother what she will have in her plot. For we are all parts of the beautiful garden and may have rich harvests for our master, if we love him enough.
Said Father Bear.
I shall devote the whole of my plot to the largest crop of patience I can get, for that is what I need most.
Said Mrs. Joe, so soberly that the lads fell to thinking in good earnest what they should say when their turns came, and some among them felt a twinge of remorse that they had helped to use up Mother Bear's stock of patience so fast. Franz wanted perseverance, Tommy steadiness, Ned went in for good temper, Daisy for industry, Demi for...
Much wiseness and grandpa.
And Nat timidly said he wanted so many things that he would let Mr. Bear choose for him. The others chose much the same things, and patience, good temper, and generosity seemed the favorite crops. One boy wished to like to get up early, but did not know what name to give that sort of seed. And poor Stuffy sighed out,
I wish I loved my lessons as much as I do my dinner, but I can't.
We will plant self-denial, and hoe it, and water it, and make it grow so well that next Christmas no one will get ill by eating too much dinner. If you exercise your mind, George, you will get hungry, just as your body does. And you will love books almost as much as my philosopher here.
Said Mr. Bear, adding, as he stroked the hair off Demi's fine forehead,
You are greedy also, my son, and you like to stuff your little mind full of fairy tales and fancies, as well as George likes to fill his little stomach with cake and candy. Both are bad, and I want you to try something better. Arithmetic is not half so pleasant as Arabian Nights, I know, but it is a very useful thing. And now is the time to learn it, else you will be ashamed and sorry by and by.
But Harry and Lucy and Frank are not fairy books. They are all full of barometers and bricks and chewing horses and useful things. And I'm fond of them. Ain't I, Daisy?
said Demi, anxious to defend himself.
So they are. But I find you reading Roland and Mayburn a great deal oftener than Harry and Lucy. And I think you are not half so fond of Frank as you are of Sinbad. Come, I shall make a little bargain with you both. George shall eat but 3 times a day, and you shall read but 1 storybook a week. And I will give you the new cricket ground, only you must promise to play it.
Said Uncle Fritz in his persuasive way, for Stuffy hated to run about, and Demi was always reading in play hours.
But we don't like cricket,
said Demi.
Perhaps not now, but you will when you know it. Besides, you do like to be generous, and the other boys want to play, and you can give them the new ground if you choose.
This was taken them both on the right side, and they agreed to the bargain to the great satisfaction of the rest. There was a little more talk about the gardens, and then they all sang together. The band delighted Nat, for Mrs. Bear played the piano, Franz the flute, Mr. Bear a bass viol, and he himself the violin. A very simple little concert, but all seemed to enjoy it, and old Asia, sitting in the corner, joined at times with the sweetest voice of any. For in this family, master and servant, old and young, black and white, shared in the Sunday song, which went up to the Father of them all. After this, they each shook hands with Father Bear. Mother Bear kissed them, every one, from 16-year-old Franz to little Rob, who kept the tip of her nose for his own particular kisses, and then they trooped up to bed. The light of the shaded lamp that burned in the nursery shone softly on a picture hanging at the foot of Nat's bed. There were several others on the wall, but the boy thought there must be something peculiar about this one, for it had a graceful frame of moss and plumes about it, and on a little bracket underneath stood a vase of wildflowers freshly gathered from the spring woods. It was the most beautiful picture of them all, and Nat lay looking at it, dimly feeling what it meant, and wishing he knew all about it.
That's my picture.
Said a little voice in the room. Nat popped up his head, and there was Demi in his nightgown, pausing on his way back from Aunt Joe's chamber, whither he had gone to get a cot for a cut finger.
What is he doing to the children?
Asked Nat.
That is Christ, the good man, and he is blessing the children. Don't you know about him?
Said Demi, wondering.
Not much, but I'd like to. He looks so kind.
Answered Nat, whose chief knowledge of the good man consisted in hearing his name taken in vain.
I know all about it, and I like it very much because it is true.
Said Demi.
Sometimes they don't even want to remention
He
casuals.
knows everything.
They focus
He
more
tells the best
on
stories in the world. I used to
excuses why they're lost.
and make bridges and railroads and houses
Catch you guys on the flip
when I was a
side.
little boy.
Began Demi.